Hey guys, welcome to the Clo Adventure channel. Today I am kind of proud to show you what I've finally accomplished, and that is I've made my entire barn here, back here, all this, it's a section back there, this main section, and then the section I'm here, totally off-grid. I've used the eco-worthy, right there, solar inverter. I got some batteries and thought I'd just go through and show you what's here. Well, glad you hung out this far. So what I have here is I've started off with small solar panels from Harbor Freight, and I used this one here, a small 60 amp solar charger, and was fine. But I noticed that with this type of system, which is called a solar charger, is it constantly charges the batteries, and then off the batteries you use an inverter to power the rest of your place. So the inverter's always running, and that was pretty good. So as I took a class from my work and learned all about it, learned how to size it correctly, and came up with, I purchased the eco-worthy solar inverter. And what this does is this takes all the power from my solar panels, brings it down, puts it into this box, and determines whether I need electricity for the barn or to charge the batteries, or both. So let me break it down and show you what I have. I live in a very wooded place. I have trees all over, right up to there. And the only place I have the ability to put solar panels is on top of my barn here. And what I have is I have 3 sets of 4 panels. Over here I have what I call are my west or my afternoon panels. That's these here. Then there's 2 panels here, and I'll show you the other 2 panels in just a moment. But on top here are my 4 panels for all day. And let me get to the other side of the barn. So here on the other side of the barn are my other 2 panels for the top, and then these 4. And as you can see, those there are my morning sun. And the reason I say that is they're actually not true south. They're a little bit of an angle on my barn, and that's to pick up more of the morning sun. And that's what I started with, were the 2 Harbor Freights, and I'll show you what I'm doing with those when I get back in the barn. Now, if you remember, I had those 2 sets of solar panels, I said the Harbor Freight ones, that's running into my old controller. And that's this here. This is just a real cheap little solar controller. I use it to charge my phone. I use it to charge my 18650 batteries. And what I'm doing right now with it is, if we go to it and right now it's only making 0.4 amps, but what that's doing is that's coming down here, and I have a set of batteries for my deer blind that I use, that I keep charged. These are for some trail cams that I have. That's a jump pack, and what I do is I keep all these little batteries charged. I can connect it to the golf cart and let it charge the golf cart while I'm not here. So that's all I'm doing with this little one. Well, so we're here back in the barn, and this here represents my barn. It has the main roof on the top, the west one and the east one, or the afternoon and the morning. Each one has a amp gauge on it, and then there's a total output here. So my lines come in here from the back of the barn. They flow into here. So right now my west one is pulling approximately, I don't know, 5.5 amps. My ones on the very top are pulling almost 6 amps. My morning ones, which are over here on the side, are pulling almost 10 amps, 9.5 amps. I'm pulling a total of about 23, 24 amps. That there runs into a breaker, or a disconnect switch, just in case I wanted to turn everything off. Then it runs into a 40 amp breaker. Those wires run down into my solar controller. Now the solar controller here, the solar inverter charger, this here will take this power here, and it has a nice display on the front here. It tells you all kinds of nice information. That will take my solar power, my right now 20 some amps, convert it, run this inverter, and then in turn put it out onto my Romex, and my Romex runs to a fuse box over there and powers the whole place. This is a 3,000 watt inverter, so it'll handle 3,000 watts. It does pretty good. I can weld, I can use my table saw, my grinder. The only thing it has a real hard time with is the initial surge of my big air compressor. It has a hard time with that. There is a little adapter that I can buy for it, but for now I'm not going to do that. So once it gets into here, there's 2 lines here that run out. These go to my batteries. So it goes from my batteries into a 400 amp breaker. Now you need this because when you start pulling 3,000 watts of power, you're pulling quite a few amps into another breaker. This here is runs my current meter over here, so I can see right now I'm charging my batteries at 13.8 amps. I'm pulling 20 something, so the remainder is running the lights here in the barn. So let me take you around back behind here and show you the batteries. So what we have here are 8 eco-worthy 150 amp hour batteries. These are all lithium batteries, and what we have are 4 sets of 2 batteries in series. So we have those 2 batteries are in series, so it's 12 and 12 making 24 volts. It's hard to see, but those 2 batteries are making 24. These 2 are making 24 volts, and those 2 are making 24 volts. So they're all tied together, and they run under there back to my unit, which is just here around the corner. What I do have here is an old, you can see the screen is cracked here. This is a Android, but you can use an iPad, you can use your phone, you can do anything you want. And I have a Raspberry Pi 3 Plus, and I'm using a piece of software called Solar Assist. This piece of software here runs off of this. I can remotely into it, so no matter where I'm at, I can see all this same information on my phone. So this here is connected through the USB port in the bottom, takes all the information that this thing is sending. It's got battery voltage, it's got solar current, it's got how long it's been on solar, it's got how much sun is expected for the rest of the day. And this is what the main screen looks like. So right here, my load power to the barn right now, I'm pulling 410 amps or of watts, 455 amps. I'm producing 677 watts of power from the roof. I'm using absolutely no electricity from the grid, and my batteries are getting charged at 206 watts. Now, if you just hang on 1 second, I'm going to go turn off a bunch of the lights, and you'll see that will drop a little bit. So I've turned off all the lights in the barn, and I'm still pulling 300 watts, which is the bigger lights up above here. I have my computer running upstairs, and we're charging at a pretty good rate. So I hope that this shows up on the graph. I'll zoom in on it a little bit. This here shows me my daily activity. It shows me how much cloud, what's estimated, and then this jaggedy darker line will be the what I've actually made in power. Down here is an overview. This is a 24-hour period, so you can see yesterday I made some power. It got cloudy, the sun came back out. Here's the blue bar right here is what I've used. So I came in at midnight, turned on the light, and then here I used it. You can see the higher right here along the edge here, you can see that's when I had all the lights on. It shows you battery power. It shows you the state of charge. If I go to this, which is my delta, this here shows me the last, shows me from today's the 26th, and it shows me from 7/27. So it shows me a month's worth of data. As you can see down here on the bottom, there's a little red line. The little red line at the very bottom almost looks like the bottom of the chart with a little blip right there. That's how much power I've used from the grid. The blue is what I've used, and the darker yellow back here is my solar panels that charged it. This here is a average each day of what I've used, how much solar I've generated, how much current I put into the batteries, how much I've discharged, and you can see right there on grid I used 0.06 of a watt, and that's just because I disconnected the batteries just to change a real quick configuration, and the system turned off, went over to the grid, and used a little bit of power. This here is a full year. You can see back here at the end of July, right when I was first starting, there's a little red spike right there where it was going on and off, and I didn't have it tuned in properly. And once I got it tuned in properly, you can see all of July and August I've had absolutely no electricity being used there. And then down here are my monthly totals, and again since June, when I reset the whole panel and I'm starting over where I don't think I'm going to be making any more changes, that's the information there. You have all kinds of configurations with this app. You can get where it's at, Bluetooth configured, all kinds of information on it. So that's that. Something I want to show you is just the display of the eco-worthy inverter here. It has a nice LED or graphical display. Over here is my solar panel. The little circle is the AC. This here is the inverter charger. So the panels are coming, it's charging the batteries, and from the batteries it's running my light bulb. And there's a really small little graph over here. It shows that it's about using 25% of what it's available. What I want to do right now, as you can see right here, it's pulling 21, almost 22 amps of power off my solar panel. I just want to show you how fast the unit switches if you were to lose battery or lose solar panels. I'll turn them both off at the same time. Let me move back here. And you're going to see the solar panel, the little line that comes up here, will now go from the AC sine wave into my inverter. It'll come up and over, and it'll bypass all the inverter and batteries. On 3, 1, 2, 3. There you go. I don't know if you've even seen it, but you'll now see that my AC is on and I have a fault, so that it's saying that I don't have any solar panel, I don't have any batteries, there's a fault with the system. So it's running completely on the AC now. And now if I flip it back, it'll go through a real quick test here. Make sure, there it is. It clicked over. The solar panels are now running or charging the batteries, and the AC is still running this. And it does a check through the system. As you can see now, my batteries were charged, the solar panels were producing enough, and it kicked over back to the solar panels, and I'm back to producing 21 amps of power off my solar panels. So that's how fast it goes. I've printed with my 3D printer and never lost a hiccup on it. My computers that are running upstairs never miss a beat. They continually stay running. So when you lose this for whatever reason, it flips back over to the AC just that fast. As I stated at the beginning of this video, I am in the woods, and right now, August, September, and October are going to be my worst months for producing any type of power and generating keeping the barn off grid. The reason being is the sun is at a much lower level. The trees still have leaves, so it's blocking a lot of the sunlight from hitting the panels. My morning panel used to be 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning would be producing power because the sun was coming up in the east. It was high enough, it would cover the tree, it would get past the trees, and it would start doing it. Now, right now, it's not till almost 12:30 that the sun is above the barn high enough that all 4 panels will produce enough power. Something you need to think about when you do this is the amount of power that you use and how much you can store it. Everybody thinks, oh, just keep buying more batteries and charge up the batteries. The thing is you have to have enough power coming in to be able to run your barn, run whatever you want, plus charge the batteries. Now, some of my batteries here have taken 3 days to charge because there's been so little sunlight. So you really have to play a game of how much power I'm going to use today versus how much it's going to charge. And what's tomorrow's day look like? How much sun are we supposed to get? Will I have enough battery power to run tomorrow's? So you have to think about it. I have 12 panels up there. They're 200 watts a panel, so you think I'd have 2,400 watts. But since the sun comes up at different times, I really only get my best about 1,000 watts per time. So the morning, I've got the morning and the top panels producing pretty good. As the sun comes over the top, I do pretty good there. But then come afternoon, it's the top and the afternoon panels are producing the most. As you can hear, the fan goes up and down as how much current it's producing. It's one thing you got to think about when you do install one of these. You're sure not going to want to put it anywhere where you're there constantly, because you're going to hear this fan going all the time. The fan, the more power you produce, the more it charges your batteries, the more it gets warm on the inside, the more it has to cool itself down. At night, it has the complete opposite. The more power you use coming off your batteries, the more this has to generate the 24 volts to 120 volts, and your fan runs even longer. So things you just have to think about. If I would have known better, this would have been back further in my barn and not right here at the beginning. But I kind of like it because I can walk in and see what's happening. Hey guys, if you have any questions, leave a link down below. I'm glad you stayed this long. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you can. Hope to see you soon.